Hello everybody, welcome back to another Minecraft video. Today I am going to be showcasing this contraption I've made using the Create mod. What this does is generates power or stress units, which is the base unit of the mod uses to generate, rotational energy or just energy in general, depending on what other mods you have installed with it. In this case, I am also using an add-on called Create Crafts and Additions, which allows you to convert your rotational force into electricity, which is being installed in these accumulators right here. So what this one does in particular is generate over 1 million stress units and converts it into electricity, as I said before, using 8 of these boilers that I've got that are maximum powered without the use of blaze cakes, which adds a whole lot more convolution to this process, so we can use our space more wisely. As you can see, this entire thing fits into one chunk, and it is also, although I didn't need to do this because chunks render as high up as you can go on the Y scale, it is also 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 blocks on the Y scale as well. So it is a perfect cube if you include the accumulators on the top. I also took the time to pretty up the design with these brass blocks and rose quartz lamp. A lot of this copper casing is unnecessary as well, but it mainly strives to use as many blocks as possible from the base Create mod itself, as well as Create Crafts and Additions for this electricity storage unit here. If I go under here, you'll be able to see 4 giant fluid tanks, all containing 72,000 millibuckets or 72 buckets of lava. This is, as you will see later, the reserve for how we actually produce our power. So right here you can see we've got total stress capacity of 294,912 stress units. We have remaining 222,000 because of these things right here, alternators, which are what converts rotational force into stored electric energy or electric, whatever you want to call it. I believe the preferred term is forge energy or FE, if that even is the right acronym. As we do this through 4 quadrants, I'd like to call them, because that is only 1/4 of the total stress units this thing generates. So it generates total a little over 1 million. I don't think there's anywhere where they all meet because of the backup system, which I will get into later. So this thing works by taking these 2 lava layers here and using the vanilla Minecraft mechanic of placing them above pointed dripstone to over time fill a lava cauldron with lava. And underneath these lava cauldrons we're using a create mechanic of taking encased fluid pipes and sucking the lava out. This lava is then... let me find it. Yes, here we go. So from above, this is where the lava from the above cauldrons are coming in, and you'll see there are 4 of these in each of the corners to split it into 4 quadrants, so I have the most range, I believe, as create fluid pipes only suck per mechanical pump about 15 or 16 blocks worth of fluid. So separating each chunk into quarters accommodates for that fact, and having 2 lots makes sure that we never run out of lava to power our blaze burners, which is what these lava in the lava cauldrons will be used for. As we go deeper down into the machine, you can see a lot of cogs turning here and there. We can see that this lava is going to get siphoned. If I follow from under here, these are all fluid pipes as well, all encased in copper casing, so it looks nicer and changes the model size to a block, which I think increases performance. I'm not entirely sure. I like to think it does. However, let me find it. Some of these will be pipes which will be feeding in from each quarter of the lava that's being generated. So these 2 fluid tanks on this side will be taking lava from this quarter, and the same goes for all the others. Now, any excess lava, as I mentioned earlier, will get put into these lava fluid tanks here. Now, this is important just in case the lava cauldrons fail to produce enough lava in time. So we want to be constantly taking lava from these so that we have enough spare. You didn't know this pointed dripstone lava cauldron is affected by the tick speed of a world, which right now, as you can see, random tick speed is 3, which is the default for every world. So as you can see here, the fluid is coming into the lava storage tanks from above, right here, and this is actually part of the way that the fluid gets to the blaze burners. As you can see here, it's getting pulled out here, follow these pipes, and up it goes. Now in these there are 9 blaze burners placed in a 3x3 pattern like this above stage level 9 boilers, and each one produces 147,456 stress units for a combined total of a little over 1 million, which is the goal here. I'm also using another mod to give us chunk loaders. This one is from the mod Create Power Loader. I'm particularly fond of this one myself, as I've created these little cubby holes where you can just slot in your rotationally powered items that you may use together, like stress or speed from the contraption itself, or for a chunk loader that you want to power, which is the whole point why I made this thing one chunk, so it could run indefinitely on a server that because you don't really want this thing to stop. However, I did come up with a condition that allows it to jumpstart itself, so to speak, if it ever does stop, which is why the lava's stockpiled, which is why there's also these accumulators underneath. Now these accumulators will always be charged by these alternators, which siphon off of the main rotational force. There's a shaft in there somewhere. It goes through this. Now the other component, aside from all this lava that we've going on, that we need to get these fluid tanks to, make rotational energy through a boiler, is water, aside from size, which is just however many there are. Now to get the water, it's quite simple. All I've done is made a few infinite water sources here that will constantly take water and not run out, and there's also some over here because I didn't have enough water. Now as compact as this all is, it is certainly not lacking the necessary features it needs to function. As you can see underneath, we have these spare accumulators, which over time will take energy from the rest of the system, from these 2 alternators here, and store it in the accumulators, but using these small connectors will push in the power to this accumulator here. Now in the event that this whole thing ends up shutting down, I have a contingency plan. This plan is to basically siphon in any resources you may have elsewhere, although the system should be able to restart itself on its own, as over time it will get enough lava to fill the cauldron. So if you give it a while, wait for it to fill up the cauldrons, you'll be able to do this, provided you've already got enough stored energy in these backup accumulators. What will happen is, say if the entire thing just turns off, even if it turns off and it has enough lava, or you lose one of these things, it will become overstressed over time. That should affect the rest of the system. As you can see here, everything has completely shut off. You can add that back, and it is completely stopped. Blaze burners will soon run out of heat. Well, they're not going to run out of heat for a while. They got 4,000 millibuckets because I did artificially boost how much lava was stored in the reservoir. However, if this fails, which it probably won't, because I did build this thing with 1 layer originally, and that's where I had that problem, so I added the extra layer on top, while still keeping it within one chunk. I have added these linked controllers and redstone links down here to activate this power thingy, whatever you want to call it. Activate this electric motor, which will run at 256 RPM, generating a whole load of stress for the entire system through these copper-coded redstone links, which will cause these redstone relays from the mod Create Crafts and Additions. Again, a whole load of functionality from this contraption relies on capabilities of Create Crafts and Additions, which is why I've got all the wires, I've got the batteries at the top, because you could transport the power through trains with accumulators on, and yeah. So what happens down here is the backup power we've got stored in this accumulator will be constantly going through here, but will only be allowed through once I activate the backup plan, which will then send this signal to this motor to start spinning this quarter of the system very fast until it has enough energy to pump the water back into the boiler, which is currently the thing we're missing. Now, it does have 8 million FE for a reason. That is because in the event the lava will run out, because without the system on, it will pump the lava into itself and it will spin. Nothing's going to happen like this. So if I use this controller, hold space for a couple moments, it will spin very fast while it gets the water running. And as you can see, it is operating back at normal capacity. The water will adjust because it is pumping water way too fast, and everything is back to normal. Now, the other part that is very crucial for the backup sequence to work properly is this up here, which is the controller that will stop any other movement of the system going into charging these batteries, because if it would get overstressed and it wouldn't be able to power itself to turn on, because the power it needs for itself to turn on is a lot smaller than the power it needs to constantly be charging these batteries. However, it is not negligible, which is why I need to split it up into 4 quadrants. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's a very cool, very reliable, in my opinion, way to get 1 million stress units for whatever reason you need it for. Maybe to power a huge base full of lots of your create contraptions. An idea I had was to have these batteries go up, be siphoned into a train that constantly goes back and forth around, your friends' houses or whatever your contraptions need these, and have giant batteries there to store the power they need to keep themselves running. So I don't have to keep building power generation factories wherever I need to go to build my stuff and create, because a lot of your stuff in the world is spread out. How you go about doing this is just putting a portable energy interface on top of one of the batteries. You might want a couple if you want it done quicker. However, place them one apart like so. This one ideally needs to be on a contraption so they actually link together. You have another accumulator on top, and then off they go. They'll contact for a bit, it will drain from this battery, it'll transfer into this one, and you can take that train or whatever contraption you use to power your other contraptions. Or more simply, you could just attach a couple small connectors or even big connectors for that matter, and just run them through like power lines through wherever you want this to be in your city. Now, I would recommend building this underground, because as you can see, it is tanking my FPS a bit. If I look at this, I'm getting about 90. If I look away, I'll probably get over 100. It's not that bad, but with shaders on, I'd imagine it would be a lot worse. Yeah, 35 FPS, 50, 60. And now if I look over this mountain, instant improvement. So yeah. So as long as this is buried underground or somewhere you can't see it, I'm sure it wouldn't tank your performance as much as it is right now, me looking at it. Oh my goodness. Anyways. So that's the basics of how this thing works, how it looks, how it functions. I will now demonstrate how to get this thing working from the schematic I'm going to provide, as it will require a few steps to get it running on the first try, and I would like to share this with you guys because I feel like this is a very cool project that I've been working on, and something that could greatly benefit all of you guys playing on your own worlds. Now, when you download it and you're importing it or uploading it into your world, it may take a while depending on your specs. This is the average time it's taking me. I'll just leave it going there, and it's called SUGen 1M Elec SFF Final. And that stands for Stress Unit Generator, 1 million, electricity, and small form factor. For any of you curious as to why I called it that. Now, what you want to do is find somewhere, if you want to use this properly, you want to find it somewhere that's directly in a chunk and probably on a flat space. I'm going to go over here, place it in the chunk. There it goes. For some reason it's on, shouldn't be. Maybe that was my fault. Just going to rise it up from the ground a bit. I like to leave a few blocks on the ground so I can get under here to activate all the stuff you're going to need to do in a minute when I print it. But yeah, all you want to do is take this in a chunk and go ahead and print it. Or if you're in survival, place it in the position you want and have it in the schematic cannon. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do once you've printed it from your schematic cannon is fix up the fluid tanks here, as there will be 9 of them and you want there to be 4. So I'm going to do that now. Now there are 9 fluid containers. They should all contain 72,000 millibuckets or 72 buckets, and we will move on to the next thing. Now you're going to notice that none of these connectors have any wire on them, so I'm going to show you how exactly you connect those spools of wire to the ring. inputs and outputs. The first one is these two alternators. You can see here though, it should save the save data of pull and push. So the ones that are pulling out of the system are going to go to the push in the accumulator, sorry. And then the pull one from the accumulator is going to go into the push one on the redstone relay. And then the last one will be pull from the relay and push into the motor. Now you're going to want to break this block to even get to those, and you're going to want to do this 4 more times. Now that I'm done wiring everything up, I'm going to just check all the water sources, as some blocks will be waterlogged and will need new buckets. And for you, if you're in survival mode, you'll probably need to add in the water in yourself. So right here, you just want to make sure this entire thing is all source blocks, and for creative users, just put 2 in ones there. So just spam a bunch. Should usually fix it. And then there are these things I showcased earlier for the extra pumps you need. Usually they'll be missing 1 or 2 source blocks. This one's missing a block here, and you're going there, there. That's all the source blocks you need. Just going to do that again for all the other ones, and I'll be right back. Now you've got all the water in place, you should be good to go. One thing worth noting, although when I've pasted this in survival, these have also always been blaze burner with straw. It is really important that these are blaze burner with straw, as regular create does not let you pump lava straight into blaze burners. Now the straw crafting recipe is pretty simple, and you will need a lot of them because you'll need 1 per blaze burner, but it's just a bamboo in a rolling mill. Takes a couple of seconds and you'll get the straw. However, if you're printing this in survival mode anyway, I found that the game bugs out and doesn't actually require you to bring straws for the blaze burners. It just saves these blaze burners as blaze burners and straws, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. But just in case you do, there's a warning for you. And now what you're going to want to do is fill these with lava to get things jump started, and fill these with electricity to get things jump started. So what I'm going to do is just grab a generator from the Crafts and Additions mod. I'm going to put 1 on all 4 of these under blocks to get them charging as quickly as possible. And I'm going to do the same with fluid tanks for the lava. Now that we've got all the lava pumping in, the last thing you're going to want to do is get a linked controller and click it on any one of these redstone links. They're all the same, and then just allocate it to whatever key you want. I'm going to use space. Now that all that's done, I'm going to go ahead and hold the spacebar for a couple seconds while we watch the lava get filled up in all the blaze burners, and once that is done, I can finally release it. Okay, I'm not hearing any more blaze burners with lava, so I'm going to go ahead and release the button, and all of those will slow down, and now you have your very own self-sufficient 1 million stress unit generator. One thing I forgot to mention, when taking this in survival mode, you're going to need to fill the lava in manually. I'd recommend using a hose pulley and pushing lava out from whatever source you may have nearby, or the nether, or you could constantly have it coming from the nether. Ideally, you just want the lava to permanently be here, or you could just run a nether train to fill up the lava. It's up to you. However, this is my way that I've decided to do it without any external lava needed after the initial one, and I hope you have fun with it. And with that, this has been my video on my 1 chunk, 1 million stress unit generating create lava farm. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, bye!